So, hi, Scott, Eddy. How are you?
Hi, Scott Jordan. How are you?
Two Scott, two great Scots talking about our favorite topic. We're talking about travel in this almost post-pandemic world, and we're talking about cruising. So we have two different views of the cruise ship. Scott's got a drone shot. He's an expert drone pilot and travel extraordinaire. He's for those of you who don't know Scott, why don't you tell people just a little bit about your background?
Hey guys, my background is actually investment banking, and then it is, and then I lived in Europe and Asia for 17 years. And while I was in Asia, that's when social media came out, and I started the first digital agency in Southeast Asia. So I sold that after 5 years and built up my personal brand, which is what you see today.
Scott is one of the top 5, I hate the word travel influencers, but for lack of a better word, it's a TV show. He's got a huge following on Instagram and Twitter. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Scott Jordan. I am the CEO and founder of SCOTTeVEST. We make great travel clothing. And
you may or may not see him wear some of his clothes sometimes.
And we're here to talk about our recent travel experience. We had never met in person. We were friends online, and we decided to go on a trip together to experience this epic new ship from Virgin Voyages. And we thought it'd be really helpful to summarize our unique experiences from two completely different backgrounds. I have never cruised before, and Scott has gone on 88 cruises. It's 88 cruises. So for those of you who are interested in traveling on Virgin Voyages, we wanted to kind of give you some background on our perspectives. And also talk about as well, for those of you who are thinking about getting out there and traveling again, in this post-pandemic world, to see what it's like. So Scott, why don't you tee it off? I mean, tell us a little bit about your thoughts and assessment of Virgin and how well they've done, what they did good at, what they could improve on, and I'll respond.
Okay, so first off, let me just say I'm a big fan of companies that do branding and marketing right. I'm a big fan of Virgin. I like Richard Branson. I like how vocal he is. I like how public his personal brand is. And I like the slickness of the Virgin, just everything, Virgin everything. So I was very excited when they announced they were coming out with a cruise line. I knew it would be cool. I knew it would be fun. I knew the ship's design would be incredible. And I was not wrong. It's actually the most beautiful cruise ship that I've ever been on. Every inch of it is literally Instagrammable. The restaurants are cool. They're funky. It's not the stale, traditional, boring restaurants that you see on every cruise ship. It's just, they made everything fun. As you can see, this is a drone shot of their ship, and I'm going to show you some other drone shots that I got of their beach club and also their cruise line in a little bit. But the ship, flawless, okay? Maybe have a bigger pool, maybe have a second pool, something like that. But other than that, I thought the ship was flawless. The food was less than flawless. I found that the food was average at best, except for the Mexican restaurant. The tacos were amazing. The Mexican restaurant, which we had on the last night, coincidentally. So it was not a good food experience the whole trip until the last night. So that was a good experience. I thought that the service, so there's 3 types of rooms there. There's the regular rooms, and then there's the rock stars, and then there's a mega rock stars. With the mega rock stars and the rock stars, you have like a personal butler or whatever you want to call it. Ours, Coral, was incredible. She was amazing. And I found that the service as a whole was either off the chart, like they were 12s on a scale from 1 to 10, or they were a 2. and there was no in between. And if there's one thing that any traveler hates, it's inconsistency when you travel. You want to be able to plan for something. You want to be able to, you have certain expectations. You're paying for a certain level of service. Therefore, you should get it. And the biggest problem on the ship was everything. So they built this ship for the future. They built it for the now. They didn't build it for 10 years ago. So therefore, everything is run on the app. If you want to get a hold of your concierge, you have to message her on the app or call from the room. Therefore, if the app is not working, which ours did not the whole trip, you either had to physically go find her or go back to your room, call, and then wait there. They didn't include a phone number, so you couldn't call on the phone. It's just, when you're trying to be too cool and you're trying to make everything on the app, if the app doesn't work, your whole trip is ruined. Now, when I say ruined, take that with a grain of salt, but
it colored the entire experience. It absolutely
100%. So that's my overall thoughts. Obviously there's a lot of micro things. This was my 88th cruise. So I cruise a lot. I have a lot to compare it to. I've cruised on multiple cruise lines, and, I did my review on my Instagram and on LinkedIn, and I had a lot of people in the comments say, yeah, but the food is never amazing on cruise ships. I think you're wrong. My favorite cruise line, and not because of the beauty of the ship or anything like that, my favorite is Viking, only because they are consistent. They're the most consistent I've ever seen, and the food is incredible. Incredible. From the buffet to the pay extra restaurants, whatever it is incredible.
But that's a different price point, though, right?
It is a higher price point. And listen, if you want the cheaper lines, if you want to go on a Carnival, you're paying for that. If you want to go on a higher end cruise ship, you're paying for that as well. So, listen, Virgin's not cheap.
No, absolutely. So let me add some flavor to all that. Number one, this was my first cruise in 20 some years, so I view it as truly my first cruise.
Essentially your first cruise.
Yeah, and, a lot has changed, and my that cruise was on a Carnival Cruise Line, and I fought with my family the entire time, and it was just miserable. So what I was looking to get from this cruise in particular was being around a whole bunch of vaccinated people that were tested, and didn't care where we went. I just wanted the human interaction. And I got that, and it was really nice to be in that sort of completely vaccinated bubble after 18 months. I absolutely adored that. It was a little uncomfortable that all the staff had to wear masks. It created a class system because you don't see their smile. They're vaccinated, they're tested. I don't know if the CDC required it or not, but I wish that they also took their mask off. But the app, here's the deal. I watched some videos about the cruise before going on it, and everyone was complaining about the app. And I'm like, okay, it's a whole month later. They had to have solved this by then. They did not. Worse, they knew exactly what the problem was. When we got there, they said, "Oh, you have the iPhone 13. We're having problems with that." I mean, and you had the most recent version of the Samsung. We're having problems with that. And then I had to spend my first 4 hours on the cruise going to tech support and level 2 tech support, and then by the time I got through level 2 tech support, I had to book all my stuff, and everything was taken. So there is no underestimating how much that colors the experience. And the one commonality I had with every other passenger when you struck up a conversation, it wasn't how good this experience or the cruise or the ship, it was how horrible the app was. And it just seems like it's something that was solvable, and they paid attention to every stinking other detail that they could have fixed this detail. So I would encourage you that if you're looking to book this trip now, I don't care if it's a year after the date of this video, make sure that they've solved those app problems. Otherwise, I'm saying do not go. Just do not go, because it will color the experience in its entirety. I mean, you go on the trips to get away from technology problems, and that's all you had was technology problems. I woke up in the morning, I didn't know what time dinner was, I didn't know when my massage was booked. Now you could write these things down, but I don't know. I do think it's worth headlining. You know, the boat was beautiful as a headline, gorgeous. Staff was great, but the app colored the entire experience. Going on about the boat, I could talk about it for hours and hours, and maybe now we should take some pictures. Do you want to share a picture or two of the boat? Let me get in speaker view so you can. I mean, it was gorgeous, and the scale of the boat. We're looking at your calendar there. Hopefully there's nothing confidential in your calendar.
No, you're fine.
All right. So, oh God, it was just your videos, were just amazing. I mean, it's just the lights, it was at all hours of the day. It was amazing. I mean,
this is one of the sunrises. I mean,
yeah,
I honestly,
you'd find that kind of view on any ship in particular. Upon reflection, I didn't take a ton of photography. I was there really just to enjoy myself. Oh, there's your 80th. Look how cool that was. They found out it was this 88th cruise.
Yeah, and they did. Like you got to credit. And again, this was our concierge who arranged this. And they sent a cake to the room that you're like, that was cool. But again, that just highlights how great she was.
Yeah. From a social media perspective, they really did not engage at all. Given that both of us are somewhat influential in social media, I would have thought.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I do absolutely love the images of the Miami skyline during the sunset when we were leaving. I mean, it looked flawless. Look at that.
Yeah. Do you have any more pictures of the boat itself?
Coming. This is an aerial view of
the beach club at Bimini. So we departed. It was a 5-day cruise. We departed Miami, had a ship day, and you were in Cozumel. I don't think there was anything spectacular about the excursions or the locations. It was more about the experience on the boat. And meeting people. And another kind of downside, unbeknownst to us, it seemed like they had they'd given half the ship away to travel agents, and so there were 600 travel agents there. So every other person you met was a travel agent. Yeah, that's a good picture of the boat. Yeah,
it's nice. I mean, that water in Bimini is just.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Super.
So, and you said that the boat was less than half capacity. So there was never terribly any crowds. You can only imagine once they do get up to full capacity. I don't know when that's going to be, but if they don't solve some of these logistics problems, between now and then, it's going to be really problematic.
Yeah, well, big time. So this is actually the image that
is behind you.
Behind me.
I mean, the level of attention to detail in the design was just epic.
Out of control.
Let me share my screen for a second. If you stop on your screen share, and I'll share mine. And go to speaker view or gallery, and let's go to share screen. Photos. Okay, so I just took a collection of this. Everyone, yeah, you can see. So the presentation of the food was gorgeous. This was a dessert shaped like a lemon. This is me enjoying myself at the pool. Again, I mean, like everything is framed so that if you take it, it's almost like a designer just took a lens and said, if I snap this picture, will it be postable to Instagram?
Yeah.
So I met so many nice people.
Yeah, good people.
this was Robert and Athena, who, and again, that's what I was looking to do. So for me, this was a whole separate area called Richard's Rooftop, which was gorgeous and, very secluded and not busy at all. I love that image of you, Scott.
I look like I'm 19 feet tall.
I know that's how you are in my mind, Scott. And they have a game room with all these games from the 70s and 80s. And although oddly, they have these racing games that are not connected to each other. Scott and I were trying to race each other, but these things will happen. These two ladies made me laugh. They had this was a Korean barbecue. The food was perfectly average, but the people were amazing. I forgot their names, but they sat down and they were in a crappy mood. And the last thing you want is two people in a table of 8 in a crappy mood fighting. And we just loosened them up together. Scott and I did. And it just turned out to be a fantastic experience. But the food, it was like a 2-hour dining experience, and the food was okay, but it's just okay. Scott and I in front of the boat before I learned how to flip my lens. Thank you, Scott. And look at the scale of this. That's the boat, our boat on the left.
So the Scarlet Lady holds 2,770 passengers with the boat that we were on, but there were only 1,200. That is the Viking Star, part of the Viking ocean liners, that holds 930 people.
Wow. I mean, and if you saw that boat alone, that ship, I guess you'd say, wow, that's a big boat. And then the Virgin Voyages, there are boats much bigger than that sailing. This was an excursion that was really poorly managed. Unfortunately, I won't go into all the details, but I was really disappointed as to how that was coordinated for reasons. Again, the boat is it's just gorgeous. At night, just the way they lit it up at night from the shore was gorgeous. Again, the food presentation was just amazing. And the scenes and the sunsets that were there's your cake. Okay, I'm not going to ask anyone what that reminds you of, but that is a mushroom mousse appetizer that was gorgeous, and that was the first course of their test kitchen, and it tasted perfectly bland, as did the scallop that was tiny and not prepared well, but pretty looking. And that looks like a murder scene. I think is that the dessert or is that the beef?
No, that's venison.
That's the venison that you couldn't eat because they just describe it as venison, and because it's covered in beet, but gorgeous, but not particularly good. And then that was a blue cheese mousse, again gorgeous. I thought that was one of my favorite things. I think that was the dessert. That was
dessert was really good.
That was delicious.
The only thing good at that restaurant.
Yeah. And then I meet some great people, Cynthia, which we hung out with, and the boat was gorgeous again. Cynthia and Scott. We met a third Scott, so we had 3 Scotts, and Cynthia, her name was Linda.
But tell them like how we met. Like, she's a customer for like many years.
She comes up to me and starts taking pictures of my pockets. And I said, what are you doing? She said, I just love pockets. And I said, well, I make clothing called SCOTTeVEST. Oh, I know SCOTTeVEST. And we just struck up a conversation. I said, well, I'm Scott. And she's like, no. So we ended, it's about the people.
Right. Yeah, it's always about the people.
This is the last night at the Mexican, the pink taco, and and that was just fun. And that was that lady. So, and like every image you take is like, sit there and take a picture and post it to Instagram. Even something as mundane as the lights, I thought were Instagram.
Like I can say one thing, and that was the best meal you had on the whole trip, right? right there.
Right.
It's
Oh,
Shake
this, yeah. The meal
Shake
I had
Shack
on the entire trip was Shake Shack
at the airport.
at the airport. I ate on my way there, and I look forward to all the way home.
So I just want to make one thing clear, because you might have a lot of cruising people watch this and they look at the design of the ship and they may not like it. Understand that when I say that I love the design of the ship, I like that modern look, that funky twist with the colors and this and that. If you're into more of that classic style, it's probably not going to be your sort of thing. So again, when I say that I love the ship and the ship is perfect, it's one man's opinion, two man's opinion, actually.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You know, it's just because we like this style. But if you like that new, modern, colorful, really sleek design, you're gonna die over the ship. Just wait until they get the other kinks out. And I am dying to actually go on it again, because I love the brand and I want to give them a second try or even a third try, just because I know they're going to get it right. I just don't know when.
Yeah, in terms of the design of the ship, again, I'm not a big cruiser, so I don't, not a cruiser at all. I'm going again for sure. I would go again on Virgin. I will wait until that app is fixed. But what I liked is you felt like every time you turn your head, you're in a completely different area. And there was no consistency in style, except everything was really well styled throughout.
So it's intended.
Yeah, exactly. You would walk 4 steps and you were in a different world, a different vibe, a cool vibe, different music. It was a lot of different great little places. Let's talk about the entertainment for a moment. As well. So we talked about the food, we talked about the service, talked about the design. The entertainment was, they just missed. We saw the sad singing clown that everyone was uncomfortably laughing at or with, or I mean, it was I forgot what his name is. Someone can look him up. I've never been in a situation where I didn't get the joke. I even get bad jokes, but it was like everyone laughing and I'm
the
not.
thing is if you talk to everybody who was laughing, everybody says I was laughing because everybody else was and I was supposed to laugh. They weren't actually laughing at the guy.
Right. That's exactly right. And that was
weird.
So they're trying to be edgy with the entertainment, and yet they would have been better with just a funny comedian, a normal, straight-laced comedian. And this guy was famous. He was on America's Got Talent. I almost went again.
There's no way he won if he was on America's Talent. There's
no way he won.
There's no way.
No, I don't think so. Then they had this sex show that was just 5% off, on that kind of humor, one of the things about the ship, no children. It was adults only. And I understand that that's pretty uncommon for ship cruising experiences. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't have children. I don't hate them, but if I wanted them, I'd have my own. I don't care for other people's children. So that was a very nice change. So there was like a really good jazz band. I found the first day. I don't know if it really jazz, but that's a proper genre. But they were great. But then I couldn't find them.
But again, you couldn't really find a list of. So how
right.
What I love on most cruise lines is every evening while you're at dinner or while you're out or whatever, and you come back, there is an itinerary for the next day slipped under your door. And so this is what typically happens on cruise ships, or they leave it on your bed, Scott. So when you come back, you literally have every inch of the ship has something going on, and you know what time it is, you know what deck it's on, everything. Here, because they're the way they are and they want to run everything on the app, everything is on the app. Your notifications are on the app, you book on the app, you cancel on the app, your reminders are on the app. So I did find some of the itinerary papers, but they never put them out until like 10 or 11 the day of. So
it was a very randomist feeling.
Yeah, it's just
It
The
felt,
organization of your planning was very bad.
I do feel that part of the experience they're going after is this, anything can happen at any moment. Like you'll be sitting there and all of a sudden some shit will happen. And, like as entertainers will come by.
But that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But there are some things that you want to plan.
Right.
You
Right.
want to make sure that you're into certain dinners. Listen, there's some dinners that were full and we were only 1,200 people and the max is 2,770.
I don't understand.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine when they
Yeah.
are sold out, if they're having problems with the app, you're never going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, logistically, that doesn't make sense now that you say it, because
Right.
every place we ate, it was full at
Full.
that seating,
Yeah.
at that seating. And they can't add, an 11 o'clock seating, and I think that's gonna put more people in the food court, and that was, listen, I've never had bad bacon in my life until this trip. Bacon, by definition, is
Right.
awesome. Cold
Yes.
bacon, thin bacon, burnt bacon, undercooked bacon.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
maybe
just not good.
No, undercooked
Yeah.
bacon. But their bacon was horrible.
Yeah, not good.
I-
Yeah.
I- it was-
Not good is actually a compliment. Horrible is a better way to describe it.
I mean, if there was bacon left over from yesterday on that table over there, I would eat it and think that's bacon. That's good stuff. Their bacon, fresh out of it was horrible. And so they have some work cut out for them for sure. But they've got the backbone, and let's also, this ship was brand new, and it was just coming out of the pandemic, so their staff was getting used to everything. They were on hold. I understand that Richard Branson really took care of his people, paid them for over 6 months to do nothing, just to wait. They had some. So I think we've covered a lot. Let's talk about travel, because you've been traveling nonstop for the last several months. You've been fully vaccinated. You've been fully safe. To me, the experience of travel was the first time, and I had a whole day traveling because I had 3 flights to get home. It was horrible. Everyone was wearing a mask. I was glad to see it, but I was unhappy wearing a mask for 18 hours of travel. I mean, on the plane, in the airport, unless you're eating, you're wearing a mask. And say what you will, they're restrictive, and I can't wait till this pandemic is over. I really wish that the airlines would simply require to fly, you be vaccinated, show proof of vaccination, and do a rapid test. You're standing there well before, a half hour before the flight takes off. Those are not that expensive. If this continues, it's unfair to ask the whole world to wear a mask just because I don't want to get political. It's not political. It's just because some people refuse to get vaccinated. It was highly inconvenient, but I was glad to travel safely anyway. So you didn't have to travel from anywhere because you were in Miami, but you've been traveling nonetheless. How's been your general experience and outlook for travel generally? And
I mean, listen, nobody likes the masks, but I think it is what it is, and you got to wear it when you're in the airport, when you're on the planes, but pretty much everywhere else you're good. I mean, it is what it is. It's a means to an end. And you're going on a trip, period, the end. I mean, it's better than sitting in the house being locked up during this pandemic. So the end of the day, you're winning. We're not the only people that can't wait for this to be over. Everybody can't wait for it to be over. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I'm a huge fan of cruising as a result of even this mixed experience. I will cruise again. I will try Viking. I will try Virgin once they get their shit together. And I will be glad to travel with you. I'm looking forward to hosting you in Sun Valley at some point. And what are your social media? How will people follow you if they're interested in learning more about you?
My handle is right next to my name, Mr. Scott Eddy.
Mr. Scott Eddy across every different platform.
My website as well.
He's very inspirational posting. And if I give a little plug for me, it's SCOTTeVEST, tons of pockets and clothing. We actually offer a pickpocket proof guarantee. You will never be pickpocketed while wearing SCOTTeVEST. If you are, we'll reimburse you. No
And
one-
outside of the pockets, it's literally one of the most best made travel clothes I've ever put on.
which we don't emphasize. And this is one of my favorite garments here. I'm going to show it off. Hopefully I won't
have that one.
in
What
the
is
green.
that?
This is the
Which one is that?
one more. In addition to having a ton of just hidden pockets, when you want to take the sleeves off using magnets, they just come right off. Perfect for cruising, because when you cruise, you don't want to have to carry around a bag when you go offshore on your excursions. Just put everything you need in your SCOTTeVEST. And right on cue, the poodles are saying,
The horses are awake.
I'm sorry. I want to thank you, Scott. Let's stay in touch, and thank everyone for
Absolutely.
watching. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. I'm gonna stop.